I'm Wari, aka Kayakura, and welcome to the Wise Arts Cultivation in the Misty Realm. Now, today I'm going to be talking about insecurities. Hold on, I'm drinking this tea that I just made. It's raspberry tea. It tastes alright. I'm gonna make it better tomorrow though. I call it the Brew House Brew. But I'm going to be talking about like insecurities or like certain attributes that people are born with, like mental attributes that might cause insecurities. Like for example, right? I was watching my friend Kairos' videos and he was talking about the fact that he like naturally just had a sense of confidence. And so I was relating that to myself and realizing that I've been realized this because I naturally like didn't have a sense of confidence in myself relating to other people as I was growing up and stuff. Like I'm 17 now, so I'm really getting into my individuality. But a lot of a lot of the things that happened to me while growing up, that kind of developed my brain and stuff. It had to do with me learning how to gain confidence in myself because I wasn't naturally born with confidence relating to other people. Like for example, like I always had confidence in my abilities, like alone and stuff like that. Like I don't really care like what a person said about me. I would still do what I'm doing, but like in my own like private time, I guess I would say, right? But like when it comes to relating to people, I might not like I might not relate my gifts to people just because I'm insecure about them and stuff. And that was a big thing I had to overcome because like I grew up thinking like people wouldn't understand me and stuff like that. And I know like to a lot of the people that like feel like that, it's like you gotta realize like once you get out of your head and like just stop holding yourself back, you realize like it's so much easier to connect with people than you thought. And there are people out there that understand you. You know what I mean? If there was something I could have like right now, if I could go in the past and just like if there was something I could do to my past self, I would just hug him and tell him that like it's fine and don't worry about people not understanding you and express yourself. I wasn't like I naturally I had a sense of like high individuality because I always did things, but I always moved to my own accord, and I always liked that. I always liked moving to my own accord, and that's something that I was personally born with. I never that like, and that's something that also could like be a bad thing too, because if you're always moving to your own accord, how do you know how to learn from other people and stuff like that, and really relate? And that's something like I had to kind of learn how to balance out because a lot of the times I wouldn't know how to learn from other people if they were like in a position of authority because with me moving to my own accord, I really only take what I need. And that's like I mean with school, like I don't like school at all because a lot of the assignments and stuff are meaningless, right? So I'm like here doing all these assignments that aren't actually helping me. So it's not like me, like I'm not even absorbing any type of wisdom except for learning how to structure, I guess. But the thing is, I already learned how to structure myself through doing my hobbies, like this, like YouTube, music, work, learning art. Actually, I'm gonna give props to school, right? I have taken graphic design this year, and that actually helped me with my graphic art skills and stuff. So you know what, I'll give props there. But I surpassed everybody, not everybody in the class, but you know what I mean. Like I'm moving on my own accord on it. I don't need a teacher to teach me, like how to, like like structuralize myself in that area anymore. Like, and that's just something innate that I had. Like, and you gotta accept that not everybody has those things. Like somebody naturally might be a very like gullible person when it comes to giving away their individuality to other people. And that's their lesson to learn in this lifetime. You know what I mean? You got to respect everybody's lesson that they have to learn because not everybody is like you. You know what I mean? That's something you also you gotta keep in mind because like it's easy for me to criticize somebody who doesn't have a strong sense of individuality and doesn't know how to move to their own accord. Like oh, how could you be so blind and like foolish? You're like, you're a sheep. And I did that for a lot of my life, and I judged people. I misjudged people. I judged people. And I just acted like people didn't understand me because I was so different and I was wiser than my years. You know what I mean? And it's like sometimes you gotta cut back on that. But that can also go into your gifts. Like you can learn about yourself through that. Like a gift I have through this, like being able to move at my own accord and being wiser than my years, I'm able to learn about things or the things that I go through. I'm able to learn about myself through that and help others when they're going through that like situation. And that's something I found that I'm able to do. And I didn't believe in myself before. I didn't believe that also has to go with confidence. Like I didn't believe that I could help people because I didn't believe that people would care enough about me and care like I didn't believe that I my existence mattered to other people enough for me to make like such a positive impact on people, you know? And it's crazy when you like when you psych yourself out of these insecurities and like you realize how limiting they were, you know what I mean? And like it's just like you got to really like understand that you can't necessarily like how do I put this? Like it's like you can't necessarily go with like a big thing is being stubborn. No, like I'm stubborn, right? So not everybody's stubborn. So I'm just gonna say like to stubborn people, it's like if you're stuck in your ways or like in your mindset, you know what I mean. You can't necessarily like you got to know how to balance that mindset with the criticism and stuff that you hear from the outside because other people might be giving you advice on how to go deal about your problems that you don't understand that advice yet, but then you look back and you're like, oh, that's what they meant by that, you know what I mean. And you got to take that in addition to your actual gifts and your talents and your intuition and like you know what I mean, and your mindset and what you're born with. Like you might be born with a good sense of integrity where you were born with you never like you always held truth to a high standard, you know what I mean, or a high sense of order, and you can you you have a good sense of like constructing things and making order out of things, you know what I mean. So it's like a bunch of different paths that your soul could have been drawn here with, you know what I mean? Mine was just creativity. Like I've always been creative. That's like one I've always moved to my own accord, you know what I mean, in private though. And I'm learning how to externalize that now and stop being such a creature of the yin nature, you know what I mean? I'm wise beyond my years, but sometimes they got in my way because I judge my peers for them not being as wise as me, but then I wasn't being wise at all because I was being too wise for my own good, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I was overthinking situations instead of just experiencing them, which led to regret and stuff like that. And that's what you want to avoid. You don't want to have any regrets. You just got to keep that mindset of it is what it is. And also, I feel like stoicism. I don't know. I might have learned stoicism along the way or been born with it. I'm not sure yet. But or that whole concept of it is what it is because like I've always kind of, like I don't like panic. Not always, but I think I might have learned that concept. It might have been an easier concept to learn, so I learned it like my soul learned it before. I just had to re-remember it. You know what I mean? But it's like a calmness of frivolous matters. But when you're in your head about certain situations, you might not realize that they're frivolous matters because of the insecurities that you have and stuff like that. And also, don't feel jealous of the attributes that other people have that you don't possess. You know what I mean? That goes with frivolous matters, petty affairs, you know what I mean? Like money, looks, or whatever. And also intellectual things like someone's smarts that have to do with math, someone's creativity, someone's like a ability, well, with math I meant their ability to calculate things or their ability to put things in order. Don't be jealous of those people's attributes. Instead, learn from them and learn how to do them in your own way. And that's really how you like work in conjunction with others. You know what I mean? Because we're all just reflections of each other, and that's really what we're here to learn, is how to learn from each other, really. So that's all I really had to talk about.